HRM has evolved would give you an understanding also about the myth and the current. Like, if I know a lot of people, cite my work and Robin's work, what we wrote earlier. But if you see that, that's a myth now because the field has evolved. And I'm going to show you that, what you can find that this is the stage one. When I wrote the first article in Sustainable HRM, I dealt that as a construct. Why? We wanted to handle the disruption caused by strategic HRM. So strategic HRM was used just for making profit. We are using human capital to make profit. That was the primary objective. So we talked about how it creates harm. We talked about the externality on stakeholders. So if you are focusing just on profit, someone else has to pay for it. And normally it is the stakeholders who pay for it. And so you are imposing harm on stakeholders. So that's how this theory evolved in the early stages of sustainable HRM. Ina talked about paradoxes because she said, yes, business wants to make money. Are we telling them, no, you can't make money? No, that's not true. We are saying there is a tension. When they want to make money, they also will create harm on the environment because you don't want to spend too much money on your pollution control or environmental management system, which simply means it is going to create harm. So Ina talked about paradoxes as part of it, and that's part of her PhD thesis in 2009. That's what happened. So if you look at stage two, the international sustainable human resource management network, where we started talking together, we didn't want to fight against strategic HRM. We said sustainable human resource management is an extension. That's a key word. We are talking about sustainable HRM as an extension of strategic HRM because we are not talking against profit. We want business to make profit, but we also want them to reduce the harm which they impose on the stakeholders, right? So between 2012 and 2017, we talked about the social impact on stakeholders. So what we were saying is, yes, profit is important, but business should take care of this. If they don't do it, then what will happen is you're going to see in terms of how the environment is being shattered because of profit. So we know profit is a key for human capital approach in strategic HRM. But we have still used sustainable HRM as a construct space under green HRM and social impact. So I started writing about harm, social harm, health harm, personal harm, and we were talking about the externality it was imposing on the social aspect. So that's what happened between 2012 and 2017. So you see, if you are using the research what is being talked about, it will be a myth now because the future is so different from what we started earlier. Now look at this. Now, sustainable HRM is aligned to corporate sustainability business strategy. So business strategy is not just to make profit. Business strategy is to achieve competitive advantage by taking care of the stakeholders. So the stakeholders have become powerful, right? That's where sustainable HRM has become a field now because it helps businesses to implement corporate sustainable business strategy. So there are a lot of people who used to ask me, Sukumar, are you telling me sustainable HRM is not strategic HRM? No. Let me repeat. Sustainable HRM is strategic because it is aligned to the corporate sustainability business strategy. It is strategic. It is aligned to the business strategy. But in this part, in this development stage, we did not talk about it. That's where you find this stage has changed the whole perspective of sustainable HRM. So if you're going to be in this part and you're still going to use what has happened here, then you're not in the current framework, the reality of it. So this is where I go back to what Robin told me a few weeks ago. We can reach out to people, researchers interested directly by talking about the latest developments. So what you see now, that has led to the business strategy of planet, people, and profit. So it's not that we are against profits. We want businesses to achieve all these things. So we talk about this as a synthesis. Business has a social responsibility. Business have a social responsibility for common good. Now, this is the common good we are talking about. Business needs to make money, but they also need to take care of the planet, and they also need to take care of people.